People tell me to stop. They tell me to stop, and they tell me that I'm not qualified to do what I'm doing. We're going to talk about it. What's going on, guys? My name is Tim Roswick, and if you're new here, I want you to consider subscribing because we post daily content just like this on the channel, and I recommend that you see it. And while we're getting started, why don't you go ahead and leave me a comment down below on something that someone has said to you, trying to stop you from doing something. Somebody in your life. I know it's happened to you because it's happened to me. But let's get to it. People in my life always tell me to stop. They've told me to stop since I was a little kid. I am an extremely curious person. I'm the dude that sees the big red button in the middle of a room and I go to push it. Growing up, I've always had people tell me what I can't do. Ultimately, it turned me into like an introvert. It made me kind of go in. It made me stop talking to people because every time I would share my ideas and my ambitions and my grand plan, I would be told that I couldn't do it. And if I wasn't told that I couldn't do it, I would be told sarcastically, go for it, try it. Like people waiting for me to fail. And a lot of people, I've had family members, I have close friends, I've had teachers, people in my life, random strangers on the internet. You would not believe the amount of people that tell me that I can't do something. And at first, I stopped. At first, I let it stop me. There were things in my life that I didn't do because someone told me I couldn't. When I was 16, I was obsessed with game development. I built my own engine. I had this top-down like tank game running. I had a whole editor built all from scratch, and I had learned this over the last 2 or 3 years of just Googling code line by line and putting it together. And I had someone tell me that the only way that I was ever going to be able to make games professionally was if I went to college. I never planned on going to college, but that's what they told me. My dad told me that I would never be anything in my life if I didn't go to college. So I went to college. College was 3.5 years, waste of my time. I dropped out 6 months from graduation, like 1 or 2 semesters, because it just, I dropped out like out of principle. Fuck you guys, you didn't teach me shit. And I knew this all along. 3.5 years ago, I could have saved 50 grand if I just stuck on my path. And you know what? I got discouraged. I stopped making games. I stopped working on stuff. I started to get more involved in the corporate world. I started my marketing company. I started working more with clients, and I lost sight of the thing that I wanted to do because someone told me that I couldn't do it. It took me 10 years to get back to games and actually finish my first game. A ridiculous amount of time. And I started my marketing company. People told me, Tim, you can't do this. You don't know how to talk to people. They would straight up say that. They say, you can't do this. You shouldn't do this. This is a bad idea. And I almost let it stop me. In fact, near the end of the company, I tried to switch more to development roles, development services and stuff, because people told me that I couldn't do marketing, even though I had done it at that point, and I was actually getting results for large companies. When I started to get involved in the startup scene, and I wanted to build a web application, I want to build something at scale that could help a large amount of people, something that wouldn't require a service-based business, something that I could build and then it could service thousands. People told me that I couldn't do that. I had an opportunity with the company that I was working with at the moment. It was a real estate company. They had 18 different properties. I was the sole marketing client for all 18 of those properties, and they said, Tim, you have a good thing here. Don't throw that away to go do something else. They told me I couldn't. They tried to discourage me. They tried to stop me. At the time, it didn't work. When I was super unhappy with my life, and I tried to find other outlets that I could be creative and explore the world and aid my curiosity, right? Because I was just had this curious brain, and I wanted to see what else was out there. And I shared important things in my life with important people in my life, and I told them that I wanted to travel, and that I wanted to leave the United States, and I wanted to go out and connect with other people in different countries and experience different cultures. They told me, Tim, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Don't throw everything you have away. You have a great company, you have a good life, you have a good place to live, you have a good car. Don't throw it away. Don't do it. And then they make sarcastic jokes like, go be a nomad. Go do your thing. Go travel. You know what? I didn't do that. I never left the US. I got discouraged. When I started YouTube, one of my first videos was about marketing, because that up until that point, that's all I knew, right? Like I had been working on a bunch of small little games, but I didn't really feel like I had anything to add to the game development community at that point, because I was still learning it all and I was coming back to it after this 10-year hiatus. And so I wanted to contribute to marketing, right? Like most people in the game development scene, they want help with marketing, and I ran a marketing company. I figured I would put together a series of videos to help with marketing, and I would go to share them. People on the internet would tell me, you can't do this. What games have you sold? Where are your games? What games have you marketed? People would talk shit about my content. People would literally start a flame war in a thread that I would post just to completely rip it apart. And there was people that would legitimately say, this is all good advice, but who are you? You don't matter. You're nobody. You don't have the right to tell other people how to market their game. You haven't done it yourself. That didn't stop me. It almost did. Didn't stop me. And that continued for a lot of different videos. I posted a video about how to make money. I've had people request entire spreadsheets and pie charts of my income. How are you qualified to talk about tips for other people to make money? How can you share ways that people can make money without actually doing it? How dare you? Stop sharing it. Tim, you can't do that. And it almost stopped me. When I started getting into games heavily again and I started making games and I did the Finish Friday stuff, I had people in my life saying, Tim, what are you doing? I left LA. I left everything that I owned in LA. I took what was with me in a trunk and I took off across the country doing an epic 2-year road trip after I sold my company. It was supposed to be a lot longer than it was. It ended up getting cut short just because I don't really know why, but it did. And people told me I was crazy. Tim, you can't do that. You can't leave a life and all the people you know and all the stuff in LA. You can't do that. And I almost listened to him, but I didn't. And that leads me to today. I routinely get comments on YouTube. I get messages on Discord. I get emails. I got Facebook messages before I deleted my Facebook. People tell me I'm not qualified to talk about the things I talk about. They tell me I don't have the authority to say the things that I want to say. They ask me, who am I to share stuff on the internet about things that maybe I haven't tried. People tell me that I shouldn't share my personal details on the internet because it makes them look bad. I have people in my life that compete constantly against my consistency. People that literally will try and fight my ability to post every day. They will try and hold me back. They will try and stop me from this consistency train that I've been on. And I hear it all the time. You can't do that. If you got people in your life that tell you can't do something, don't listen to them. You can do whatever the hell you please. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody, it doesn't, invade someone else's space, it doesn't affect anyone else negatively, you do you. The only things I regret in life are the things I didn't do. I never regret a damn thing I ever did. People tell you all the time that you can't do something. Maybe it's time you second guess why those people are in your life. Because seriously, doing some of the hardest things in my life were some of the best decisions I ever made. And the hard things, the things that people say you can't do, or you shouldn't do, or it's not practical, or it's not smart, or you should take the traditional route, or you should do what your mom or dad does, or you should do what I do, or you shouldn't take risks like that. Don't listen to what they say. Life is about taking risks. And like I said, the only things in life that I regret are the things that I didn't do because someone else told me that I couldn't. And I don't blame those people. It's my fault. And I know at that time in my life, I was not socially strong enough to fight back. I didn't have the confidence and the courage in my brain to tell those people that they were wrong. I didn't have the ability to stand up and say, no, this is something that I really want to do. And I know there's a lot of you watching like that. I know there's people that they don't have that fight in them yet. You gotta work on it. Because if you do what other people tell you to do, you're gonna live their version of your life. And that is the most unfulfilling, shittiest life you can ever live. That's all I got. If you got any comments on this, leave them down below. Hit me a thumbs up if you like it. Hit me a thumbs down if you hate it. Either way, engage on the video. It helps push the video out in the algorithm. So if you think it should be spread, engage with me and let me know your thoughts. My name is Tim Ruswick, and I'll see you again tomorrow.